Second part: ozone, pollution and our health. It doesn't contain CFC harmful to ozone. Ozone is a toxic gas, pale blue color, characterized by an acrid odor. Ozone molecules are formed by 3 oxygen atoms. It is present both in the stratosphere, ozonosphere, between 30 and 50 kilometers of height from the ground, and in the low troposphere near the Earth's surface. The ozone, which formed in the high atmosphere, allowed the living beings to pass from the aquatic environment to the life on the Earth, since it has acted and acts as a shield against the ultraviolet radiation emitted by the Sun. But let's see how stratospheric ozone is created and destroyed. Ultraviolet rays from the Sun split diatomic oxygen molecule into 2 atoms which combine with other oxygen molecules to form triatomic ozone molecules. Then also the ozone molecule, because of ultraviolet rays, breaks back into O2 and O. This situation of dynamic balance between ozone production and destruction is modified by chlorine, a gas which is present in substances called chlorofluorocarbon, CFC. They are substances used in the refrigeration circuits of fridges, in conditioning systems, and also as propellants in sprayers. When a chlorine atom collides with the ozone molecule, it takes possession of the 3rd oxygen atom, from which a molecule of O2 and radical of chlorine monoxide are formed. This radical is very active and easily combines with oxygen atoms. It sets chlorine free and available to start the cycle of the destruction of ozone again. What are the consequences of the depletion of ozone layer? Ultraviolet rays arrive at the Earth's surface and they can provoke skin cancer and damage to the cornea. To restrain the photosynthesis of plants, so risking poor harvests. And finally, ultraviolet rays can destroy the phytoplankton, which is at the root of the seafood chain. But what can we do to reduce the ozone hole? We can reduce the use of conditioners. We can install ceiling fans at home. We can buy only CFC-free sprayers. Now let's see what happens when ozone is created in the low atmosphere. At ground level, ozone is created from the reaction of oxygen with the nitrogen dioxide and with volatile organic compounds in the presence of high sun radiation and temperatures. The presence of ozone at ground level has a lot of consequences: eye and throat irritation, cough and reduction of pulmonary activity. We can protect ourselves in different ways, by using more public transport and bicycles, to reduce the liberation in the atmosphere of both nitrogen dioxide and the other gases which contribute to pollute the air. Moreover, we can choose water paint, to reduce the production of volatile organic compounds. But unfortunately, there is not only ozone to threaten our health. Other atmospheric anthropic pollutants that is connected to human activities are carbon oxides, nitrogen oxides, sulfur oxides, benzene, lead, PM10, and they are originated from industrial processes. The exhaust pipes of motor vehicles, from thermoelectric power plants, from the burning of waste.
But what are the dangers for our health?
Let's interview Dr. Tabiadon of the Public Health Service in Milan. What are the main effects of pollutants on man's health?
The effects of pollution on man's health can be divided into acute and chronic. The acute ones are those which manifest themselves within 24 hours after the peak of pollution has shown. The most frequent acute effects which can be noticed are the worsening of respiratory or cardiovascular diseases. The chronic effects are, on the contrary, connected to a longer exposure about 10, 20, 30 years of exposure to pollution. As a consequence of these, there are more people suffering from asthma, chronic bronchitis, lung tumor, and cardiovascular diseases. And it has also been noticed that people exposed over an extended period of time to high levels of pollution develop lung tumors even if they didn't used to smoke.
Is it possible to protect children and old people who already suffer from respiratory diseases?
At present, the prevention for children and old people is to reduce their exposure to polluted air. We can avoid taking children to the most polluted areas and advise even old people to stay at home rather than go out and breathe polluted air.
How can we improve this situation?
There are two ways. The political one, that is, the people who are ruling our country can take precaution to reduce pollution. This measure can be coercive, such as the complete traffic ban and traffic restriction according to the car number plate, or such as the check of exhaust fumes and the emission of boilers. Another solution under discussion is about a direct intervention on the sources. To encourage the use of public transport, to create pedestrian precinct and bike lanes, to favor the use of bicycle. Finally, some individual behavior must be carried out. To obey the prohibition when cars are banned or when there are traffic restrictions, to have our motor vehicles serviced and boilers checked, to respect the regulation according to which temperature at home should be less than 20.
We thank you, Dr. Tabiadon, for this interview.
You're welcome.
But is it possible to live better? Yes, it is. Take for instance Vancouver in Canada, which is the first among the most livable cities in the world. A city full of bike lanes, pedestrian-only streets, and with efficient means of transport. The bicycle is, in fact, the ordinary and daily means of transport. All the buses have a rack in front, where the cyclists leave their bicycles before getting on the bus. Once they reach their destination, they take their bike back and go on cycling. Thanks to a new lifestyle and a government that make our cities sustainable, we too will be able to live better.